So hello and welcome to this week's angling blog. This week you join me on the banks of the local reservoir and we're out in search of those roach. Today we're going to be fishing the waggeler and hopefully making connection with some of the lovely roach that live in this pool behind. As you can see behind me, it's a crisp autumn morning. The temperatures are definitely dropping in the morning, late nights are drawing in, and the elderberries are on the trees. It screams one thing to me: fishing hemp for roach. So as you can see on screen now, the rods are set up behind me and we're standing in the water today hoping to target those roach in that deeper water. Take a look at the setup. Today I'm using my korum Omega rod. I've teamed it up with a 2,500 reel, and on there I've got 6-pound line. It's down to one of the 2.5 gram Wags from Drennan, and that's locked in place with some float stops, and I've got some Dinsmore weights on there just to cock the float down to about there. Going down the line, we've got one number 4 dropper, a 3-pound hook link down to a size 12 hook. So here we are out in the water. We'll have a nice little look at the side tray. We've got plenty of the hinders hemp. I've split it over 2 boxes and I've got some behind me just to balance the side tray out. We've got some tears again from hinders, and we've got sweet corn. And it is a beautiful morning to be on the bank. We've only got probably 4 to 5 hours fishing before we've got to be off. Some jobs to do today. Now normally you'd be mega happy being the only person on. The only problem with it is when you're the only one on, all the ducks come to you, don't they? As you can see, we're a bit out in the water today, and there's good reason for that. It's getting a bit cooler and it is up to probably just above my knee where I'm stood. Where that duck is there, it drops down to about what, 8 foot maybe, something like that. Nice depth, but that's where the fish might be in these colder conditions. But at the moment we're just going to start round about here, feeding that hemp, feeding that corn, and to start with it's just about trying to draw them in. There's plenty of fish topping around the area, so on here the first thing you've got to do is draw them fish into your area. So while those birds are away, I'm just going to make the most of the opportunity to get a bit of bait in. It is a water that I'm always positive on. You know, get a good bit of bait down. It isn't too cold yet, it's not winter, so the fish will still be feeding. Like you see, as soon as you start feeding bait, the ducks start coming in. So it's going to be a case today of getting some bait down while they're away. So with the depth, it isn't an easy cast, it's more of a gentle lob. Stopping the line just at the last minute. They've disappeared now, them ducks, and I'm pretty sure some of that hemp's got down to the bottom. And I think that's just how we're going to have to do it today. Wait for them to disappear, feed heavy, and then go over the top of it. There's a bite straight away, which is a great start on the first cast. Got the swan around me here trying to steal me bait. Not easy. And I think it's going to be a constant battle today with Mum and the swans, but what a lovely way to start the video. That is a cracking roach on the first cast. So with them ducks away again, I'm going to put in 2 pouches of the hemp. There's another bite. A great start to the session. 2 bites in 2 casts. It's another one of those lovely roach, and an excellent quality to start with. Second roach of the day, in absolutely immaculate condition, and if it continues like that we'll have a very good day, won't we? Continuing to be nice and positive. 2 nice pouches of the hemp. I'll put a few grains of the corn in this time. There we go. Excellent fishing, and being stood out in the reservoir as it's getting to autumn, it really is one of my favourite things to do. On the good days, that is the average stamp, and hopefully that continues. By keeping on using these positive baits, we can keep targeting that good average stamp. And Daddy Swan or Mummy Swan are not going to leave us alone today, most definitely. And yeah, it's all part and parcel of public reservoir fishing. To start with, I'm feeding 2 pouches of hemp like that, nice and positive. Like I said earlier, sometimes you come on here, you've got to wait for that show to come in. It looks like there's a few roach out there today, so we can be nice and positive with our feeding. At this stage, it's just about getting into that routine, you know, just lobbing that line out. It's not a hard cast, just a gentle lob and then feather the line at the last minute. A bit like when you're casting a bolo, so it doesn't tangle. There we go. and so we want it to keep continuing. That float keep going under, and these lovely roach just keep coming to the bank. And all the bird life gone, just 2 positive pouches of that hemp, and that little bit of a ripple on the water now is only going to help the fishing. Most definitely, always on the Bridgewater Canal, if you got a ripple, it always was good. You can see there, just swinging in these lovely roach, and it is a biter chuck at the moment. You have got to keep that feed going in though. And the good thing about fishing this deep water as well is none of that bait is getting ate by the ducks on the bottom, because they can't reach it. If we were fishing from the bank and landing where we stood, then they'd be diving in your swim and everything. On the blog I do talk a lot about getting into a routine, so I've set the camera up behind me, and as you can see on screen now, into that routine of casting in, feeding that pouch of hemp over the top, lifting the rod, and then you're ready to strike. By feeding that hemp, it's a heavy bait that's going to fall in the water, get them fish in them lower layers. You can see there's no fish topping in front of me, they're all in them lower layers, and that bite is coming as it settles. So when you think that's probably the smallest roach we've had so far, it gives you an idea of the stamp. Always been on here excellent quality, and there are loads of carp in here, but you know me, Mr. Roach is always going to draw me back. My mindset now literally is all about keeping them fish in the swim, feeding enough bait to feed the shoal that's out there, and enough to attract more in, and keep them in them lower layers so they're not coming up in the water and that bait's on the bottom. So after stopping him getting on my side tray, it looks like Mr. Swan's making a bit of a dirty protest and sitting right in front of the swim. He's going to have to move, most definitely. Off you go, mate. Just feeding hemp and that little bit of corn, but mainly hemp. It's gone over to a tear, and now starting to get the fish on them as well. By just feeding only hemp, it was the way I was taught. You don't want to be putting much other bait in, definitely not maggot. And just feeding hemp gets them onto that, but it does take about an hour normally to start getting bites on it. That's the first one just coming on a tear. I don't think it comes much better than that, does it? Stood out in the reservoir, fishing for roach on the most natural of venues. Hopefully this vlog has just shown you how simple it can be. Nice, easy tactics, nothing complicated. Just got to be positive with your feeding. You can see there, literally is just a biter chuck and camera in one hand, striking in the other. It's all part of filming on Danny's angling blog. Them GoPros are an excellent tool, but that must be my 3rd or 4th one now, and they're just so temperamental it's untrue. But where there's a will, there's a way. I'm doing my best to make the best video I can today, with the GoPro packing in after about half an hour. A rare week off work for me. The GoPro breaking isn't going to dampen my spirits, most definitely. A palm full of roach. But about 2 hours in now, and it's been excellent fishing. And it's a bait that I don't use too often, is a tear, and really probably should more often. But that's how I fish it, just nick it on. I treat them a bit like a caster. If the fishing's hard, I bury the hook completely. Like today, there's plenty of fish out there, there's no need. There is a lot of bubbles coming up there, which most definitely is Mr. Carp. So yeah, we've got plenty of room to play him if we do hit one. And they are great fun when you do. And the quality of the fishing, just absolutely exceptional. The average stamp, good. And then all of a sudden, you hook into a few of these better quality ones as well. And absolutely immaculate condition. If there was pike in here, they'd be massive, most definitely. These guys just don't know when to give in. And just a constant thorn in my side. We'll get this guy back and we'll usher Mr. Swan on. It was this venue that really emphasised to me that birds of a feather definitely flock together. These roach definitely go around in year classes, and when they move in you can just tell that the better average quality has gone up. And now everyone we're getting is that size. And with a nice shoal of roach in front of me, you've definitely got to keep that bait going in. I've brought plenty of hemp with me today. That's the second time now I've filled that side tray up. You've got to keep that bait going in to keep them in the swim. I've brought with me today probably 5 or 6 pints of hemp in that bucket, and I expect to go through most of it during this short session. You really have got to be positive with your feeding. And when they start heading down your wrist, you know it's a better one. Phenomenal stamper fishing on hemp, tares and corn. I do hope you have enjoyed the video to this point. If you have, please leave it a like, and if you're new around here, subscribe down below. I do try and include as many hints and tips as I can on the videos, so hopefully them little hints and tips, if you are new to waggler fishing, will help you out. It is a rare week off work for me, and the fish are biting behind, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enjoy the last hour and a half of the session. I'll play a bit of footage now of what we catch, and I'll catch us all at the end of the video. Every so often you strike and you feel that resistance that only comes with a better quality roach. And the jaggedness, the sun out, and a beautiful roach coming to the net. And what a lovely way to end the session. And let's have a look at that final net. So as you can see from the final net, it's been excellent fishing in only a few hours. The reservoir behind me is one of my favourite places to fish, and as a result gets me in more trouble than the others with one final cast. So all that remains is for me to wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight lines.